Rodolfo Alfonso Raffaello Pier Filibert Guglielmi di Valentino d'Antonuola. Born Castellaneta, Italy, attends military school and the Italian Agricultural Academy. At 17, emigrates. Does landscape gardening on the Long Island estate of Cornelius Bliss. And at night in Manhattan, haunts the dancing casinos. All gussied up, he poses for pictures to send back home. At Maxime's, in Borrowed Tales, ballroom partner for unescorted ladies. As Senor Rodolfo, with dancer Bonnie Glass, tours U.S. cities. Tries for British Air Force. Bad eyesight. Joins a traveling musical, which folds in Frisco. To Hollywood, which in 1919 didn't need dancers, but maybe a heavy at $5 a day. His first picture, Alimony. Then, The Married Virgin. He's an Italian count and blackmailer. Studios quickly typecast him as foreign. He is already confident on camera, but no one notices particularly, except Mae Murray, who uses him in The Delicious Little Devil. Then, A Rogue's Romance. An adventuress. It is April 1920, and he has settled for 2 of his 8 names. At this point, D.W. Griffith himself hires him, but only as a dancer in a stage prologue to a film. Next, The Cheater and Passion's Playground with Catherine MacDonald. Here, he at least is the brother of the lead. And he has a brief heroic moment rescuing a foolish child from the surf. His reward, Miss MacDonald's lovely hand. And in Once to Every Woman, the hand of Dorothy Phillips. Then Stolen Moments. David O. Selznick casts him in The Wonderful Chance. But he is more menace than ever. Lead gangster in a scheme to kidnap Eugene O'Brien, then a busy star. At $150 a week, they let Valentino switch hats, slouch cap, to boater, to Homburg, but not switch character. Surely it was at least in part because of his rich Italian speech, even though the films were silent. It certainly wasn't that he was disliked as a person. He was popular on the set, willing to make scenes over and over, and completely unself-conscious. Let's flash back to Eyes of Youth, which he had made 1 year and 7 pictures earlier. Film historian William K. Everson writes, "To Rudy, it had been just another picture, but it turned out to be far more than that. We'll see why in a minute." The story is of a divorce frame-up, and Valentino is the professional correspondent. The innocent wifely victim is popular Clara Kimball Young. Ironically, Valentino's own first and quick marriage to Jean Acker had itself just broken up. In the story, he is to lure Mrs. Grant to a roadside inn on the pretext he is a doctor treating her allegedly injured husband. His natural grace and instinctive feeling for tempo, even as a bad guy, had made a sharp impression on Metro's top centerist, June Mathis. Miss Mathis has been working on The Four Horsemen of the Apocalypse with director Rex Ingram. She insists Valentino be given the part of Julio, the Argentinian tango dancer and libertine, who, in the story by Vicente Ibanez, dies on a French battlefield in World War I. Though the film is successful, Metro stalls when he asks for more than $200 a week and puts him in The Conquering Power and Camille with Natsimova. Paramount, then famous Players Lasky, apparently more impressed by Metro's high grosses on The Four Horsemen than Metro itself, takes a $500 a week risk and casts him as the Sheik. The film doesn't exactly set the critics on fire, but the Sheik character ignites female fans, and Rudy's sex appeal fans the flames. In the later sequel, the producers, with Paramount's okay, restaged the bit where Rudy, clutching Agnes Ayres, says, "Stop struggling, you little fool." It's 1921. Valentino is the screen's hottest star, and chic, a housewife word. It was tough to top with Moran of the Lady Letty and Beyond the Rocks with Swanson. Valentino issues stills of himself in all-American poses, hoping to land roles like Fairbanks, Charles Ray, and Dick Barthelmess. But compromises with Blood and Sand. As the matador, torn apart, not so much by the bulls as by his two women. Carmen, his childhood sweetheart, played by Lila Lee, and the sultry Danya Saul, played by Nita Naldi, and by Rita Hayworth in the remake 20 years later. It is Valentino's second interpretation of the somber storytelling of Spanish novelist Ibanez, and he is at his best. He later said, "There's much in the character and experience of El Gallardo that I understand intimately and sympathetically." His vast following agrees. And success doesn't spoil Valentino. He is cooperative with the press and lets them make newsreels like this one. In promotion stunts, audiences are tested for their heartbeat reaction to Valentino love scenes. His earlier films are exhumed and retitled as if he had been starred. An adventurous becomes the Isle of Love. He is now a celebrity of unprecedented proportion. The photogeneity, which had been such a hard sell for him at the beginning, is in demand everywhere, even among other celebrities. John Barrymore, Fairbanks and Jackie Coogan, Von Stroheim, Knute Rockne, LaGuardia, Bill Hart, Fairbanks, and Al Jolson. Parodies, their greatest compliment, proliferate. Glenn Hunter, one of the boy next door types Rudy had envied, just hearing a Victrola record, dreams he is Rudy, dancing the first tango in Hollywood. Beautiful Mary Astor plays straight woman in the gag. The inimitable and immortal Will Rogers Rogers. Took a shot at Rudy's chic. To Rudy's prowess as a matador, Rogers was equally merciless. But with screen idols, private lives tend to overlap. He is in love with the stunning Natasha Rambova, born Winifred Shaughnessy and stepdaughter of cosmetician Richard Hudna. Natasha is a talented designer, but now her designs are on Valentino, and she begins to call the shots for him in his career, such as his next film, The Young Rajah. He hates it, and the critics agree with him. With Natasha nudging him, Rudy walks out on Paramount, and Paramount walks into court and gets an injunction against his working for anyone else as an actor. Time now, in his epic 2-year absence from the screen, to indulge his hobbies. But much as he loves cars, affluent living, and sports, much more, he wants Natasha. Just one problem. The divorce from Jean Acker is not legally final. He and Natasha marry anyway, and at the Mexican border he is busted for bigamy. His loyal champion, June Mathis, gets it straightened out. And he and Natasha go on a personal dance tour for Mineral Lava, a Hudnut product. Pre-television, it was literally a traveling soap opera. He could legally make short subjects, and Selznick produces the one-reeler, Rudolph Valentino and the 88 American Beauties. To square the Paramount contract, he makes Monsieur Beaucaire with Bibi Daniels, and The Sainted Devil, filmed in New York. With Natasha, he tours Europe. They visit his home country and the Riviera. Happy? Yes. But he'd be happier back in Hollywood making pictures. They sail back, and a film is planned. The Moor, a concept of Natasha. But this time, the chic by another name is not so sweet, and the film bogs down. Not one foot is shot. Natasha goes east to make a picture herself. Valentino stays west and does the bachelor bit. Theodore Huff wrote, "Off-screen, Rudy was as serenely self-confident as on. He was proud of his physique, showed it off in all his pictures and at home, and boxed for 2 hours before breakfast with a professional. He loved luxury, was ostentatiously sybaritic, and childishly careless about money." At Falcon's Lair, he is host to everybody important. His admirer, Mae Murray, has now discovered Prince Divani, and Rudy is host for the wedding. Luella Parsons, Vilma Banky, and Pola Negri. A new romance fades in as the old fades out. The movie magazines have a field day, and Valentino and Miss Negri don't exactly try to hide from the newsreel cameras. On screen, in Cobra, he resists another siren, Nita Naldi. It is November 1925. Joseph M. Schenck, chairman of United Artists, blueprints for Valentino a full-fledged comeback. He casts him as a Russian Robin Hood, a romantic role worthy of a Fairbanks. And it works. He is a guardsman who catches the eye of the Tsarina, Catherine, played by Louise Dresser. Natasha Rambova is not only not invited to do the sets and costumes, but is actually barred from the set. A divorce is in process. Further insurance of success for the Eagle is in the casting, opposite Valentino, of the beautiful Hungarian import, Vilma Banki. The Eagle is a smash. Variety writes, "It is the opinion of the trade that Valentino's comeback is definitely successful and puts him back into the same high place he occupied after The Four Horsemen and Blood and Sand." A columnist in Chicago tries to start a controversy by chiding Rudy for wearing a slave bracelet and alludes to him as a pink powder puff. Valentino is stunned and demands the writer reveal himself and face up to him in the boxing ring. The writer never shows, which is smart of him, as Valentino, here training with Jack Dempsey as referee, would have creamed him. With director George Fitzmaurice, a chic sequel is planned. Some in the trade think the chic image has been parodied so much that a serious sequel won't work. But Joseph Schenck knows what he is doing. The Son of the Chic, more than any of his films, shows how original scenario material was built around Valentino to set off his strong screen presence. The book, The Sons of the Chic, on which the picture was supposedly based, was principally about the parents, not principally about the sons. And the second, older, and more important son isn't even in the picture. Instead, new stuff was invented for the younger, more rugged son, Ahmed, played by Valentino, who had been comparatively minor in the book. Here in the film, Ahmed admires a dancing girl, Vilma Banki, and introduces himself in a romantic, open desert setting. In the book, the girl had been not a dancer, but a snake charmer, before taking up chic charming, and was first approached not by Ahmed, but by the older brother, and in a smoky cafe. Here's another example of how Hollywood splurged for source material and then disregarded it. In the film, Ahmed's father calls him on the carpet. Literally, of course, taking place in a Moroccan tent. And in the famous sword-bending match, the boy calls on his super cinematic physique to prove He is now all the man his father is. No such bit of business in the book. In excellent split-screen technique, Valentino plays both son and father. It is August 1926. Valentino, who has previously had intestinal problems, goes to New York for appearances with the son of the Sheik. At dinner with Ziegfeld Follies beauty Marion Benda, he has a new attack. Gallstones? Ulcers? The doctors say they are operating for appendicitis. Either way, it is late. Peritonitis sets in. There are two funerals, New York and Hollywood. Pola Negri is in widow's weeds. Brother Alberto, chaplain, Fairbanks, and Mrs. Fairbanks, Mary Pickford. Valentino's personal estate is minimal, but United Artists is the beneficiary of a $1 million insurance policy.